My name's Eli Dreyfuss, and I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. Been around the block quite a few times. Ended up here in Orlando for the last few years. So the artistic journey for me really started back in 7th grade. Before then, I kind of was a super shy, kind of awkward kid, and had a lot of issues with my hands, dexterity, stuff like that, and I couldn't really focus on many things. I guess you would call it ADHD or whatever. But I remember back in 7th grade, I was living in Mexico at the time, kind of discovering what I was passionate about at that age. So I remember picking up just a random pen and paper, sitting in my room one day, ended up there for 10, 15 hours straight, drawing this meticulous, very detailed black and white drawing. And after that point, it made me realize, whoa, I can actually sit and focus on something for 10, 15 hours and use my hand that usually I couldn't necessarily use. So it was quite an interesting discovery. That drawing stuff led into picking up my camera for the first time in 9th grade, and then starting to do portrait work back in 10th grade. So, and that's what I've been doing ever since. I guess I would call myself like a Renaissance man, because I do a lot of different things: filmmaking, photography, writing, drawing, really a creative storyteller. So whatever the story calls for, I'm going to use the right medium to tell that story. But the main thing I'm drawn to is people. As a shy and introverted person, I struggle with forming genuine connections with other people, and I found that using the camera has allowed me to genuinely connect with the people in front of the camera, the people that I'm talking with and sharing the story. So it's been a really transformative process and experience. The work in this exhibit, the work is titled The Connection Point, and it's funny because it actually evolved as I was going through it. This project actually started back in freshman year of college, and it was called My Everyday Heroes. At that time, I just got back from Israel, and I was in a kind of a transitionary phase, going from high school to college, because I took a gap year, kind of discovering who I was as a person, as an artist, and I was in kind of a reflective state. So it made me think back to all the people that have made a difference in my life, and I wouldn't be there without them. So I started pointing the camera on those people and called it My Everyday Heroes, because those are the people that I looked up to. But when I picked up this project again back in my senior year of college, it made me realize that the people standing in front of my camera are just people. I really wanted to start to humanize them again, and just have conversations, genuinely tell them how much I appreciate them. And that's what I found was the guiding force for this whole project. It was a very humbling experience to turn the camera on them and say thank you. I wanted to bridge the connection gap between myself, the person that I'm photographing, and the people viewing it. So to do that, I was able to find the connection point between me and the person standing in front of the lens, which was telling them that they changed my life. I asked everyone the same question. I said, what does it mean to be an inspiration to somebody else? And often when we are the inspiration to someone else, we don't really think of it like that. We just kind of do our own thing, and we're just living out our purpose. So it's kind of a humbling thing to see their body language completely change as we were going through this process. So I would ask them that question and immediately photograph them right after that. So there was no posing involved whatsoever. It was simply a conversation between us, just like we're catching up. And I was able to capture that one moment, that connection point that bridged us together. And I always left those conversations feeling extremely inspired and just grateful to where I am at in my journey. The main thing that stuck to me, and I want to keep doing, is I started writing letters to each person and hand delivering them. And that was a really beautiful experience to step into that zone for a little bit. I always get very emotional talking or writing about those people. It brings me back to all the memories, all those things that they taught me. And the fact is that, wouldn't be the person I am today without those people. So I would always put up the picture side by side as I was writing the letter. Displaying them side by side really gives the audience member a point of connection and really helps, again, bridge that gap between me, the viewer, and the person standing in front of the lens. Because that's ultimately what that's what it's about. So out of the whole project, there's about 40 portraits. The one portrait that really stood out to me was the portrait of Rabbi and Rebbetzin Lipsker, the Lipsker family and their kids. As an artist, I always think about myself as an artist, and that's my sole identity, usually. But after experiencing the magic that the rabbi and his wife has created, they really started to teach me about what it is to be, a human being and identify as a Jew first. Really kind of hone in on the foundation. In the portrait, I think I was able to capture the warmth and the energy that they create, the light, if you will, that they've instilled not only in their family, but in the community that surrounds them. And I've been extremely grateful to have been a part of that community for the last 3 years. Again, it changed the way I see myself and the people around me. My goal as an artist always comes down to kind of one thing, and it's I want to create work that people not only see, but I want them to feel. And I want to create experiences, tangible experiences that the viewers can see the work and walk away with an inspiration or an impact and inspire those people to go out and make a difference in their communities as well. In this exhibition specifically, I decided to do printable vinyl and stick it onto the wall itself. And I wanted people to actually go up to it and touch it and feel the impact that those people had on me. Because generally in museums and art exhibits, you're kind of distanced by the frame, by the display of it. So I wanted to kind of take away that barrier and literally have people touch the picture and read that letter, feel the impact that that person had, and create an experience, something that they can walk away with. The reaction has really been beautiful. I always get very emotional, like talking about it or seeing that reaction, either in person as I'm photographing them, but also having them read the letter. It's always a pleasant surprise by them, and they're always just like, "Wow, like I didn't know you felt that way," or, that's really beautiful. We kind of both start to cry a little bit every time I deliver the pictures or read the letters, and it's just been a beautiful way of really bridging that connection gap between me and the person in front of the lens. I still struggle with forming connections with others, but the camera has most definitely been the tool that has enabled me to kind of really be present in the moment with the people that I'm photographing, and again, genuinely have conversations that connect us. And again, with social media these days, it's very difficult to form those connections. But again, with this camera, it really puts me in a space to really see myself differently, in a sense. Something I would like to do moving forward, though, is film the interviews and put together a mini documentary about the process and, again, what does it mean to find the connection. So my personal website is www.elidreyfuss.com, and my Instagram handle, Eli Dreyfuss Studios. And my YouTube channel is Eli Dreyfuss Studios as well. And that kind of, I have all the personal projects on there as well. I also run a handful of projects, campaigns, if you will. One of them is called the Women in Film Project over on Instagram. We also have a website, email address, info@thewomeninfilmproject.com. I also have the Community Project, which is on the website. And hopefully I want to have a connection. Hopefully I want to have a website for this project as well. One lesson that I really learned is that, you're never gonna figure it out. You're always learning, you're always evolving. Really be on that journey, embrace that evolution. As you change as a person, your work is also gonna change, and it's a direct reflection. The work that you create is simply an extension of the person standing behind the lens. You're a person first and an artist second.